In 7 days, Nigerians will go to the polls to elect the next president of the republic and federal legislators. With the social, political, and economic challenges occasioned by the Naira policy, it seems the next few days may be difficult as Nigerians hope against hope. Thanks for joining us on today's program. I am Nifemi Oguntoye. Join the conversation live on Twitter with the hashtag TVC Countdown 2023. The presidency is again assuring Nigerians that elections will hold as planned. The idea of an interim government has been addressed in a statement issued by President Buhari's media team. In a nutshell, elections will hold as planned. There will be no interim government and the APC will win. The president has again stated that his choice is the flag bearer of the APC, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who he says will succeed him. And joining us live is our State House correspondent, Femi Akonde, who's with President Buhari in Addis Ababa. Femi, the president is attending the 36th ordinary session of the African Union Assembly where you are, but his senior special assistant is speaking to the situation back at home. Walk us through the main takeaways from this new statement and how reassuring it is for stakeholders in this election. We'll get back to Femi shortly, perhaps in the program, but it's been a day of riots and protests, anger and frustration in many state capitals across the nation, from Ojota to Ikorodu and Port Harcourt, where many took to the streets to protest Naira shortage and the disruptions caused by the inability to go about their normal businesses. TVC senior producer Judith Irenoa has details in this report.
Call it a wave of anger and frustration in demand for attention from the government at the center. You will be right.
Soldiers everywhere.
In the Mile 12 area of Lagos, where normalcy has reportedly been restored, it was a Friday morning of unrest over Naira scarcity. Commuters were stranded over the rejection of the old note by transporters, leading to the breakout of protest. In the Ojota area of Lagos, the protest started and spread to the Maryland, K2 and Ikorodu axis. Some protesters were said to have attacked commuters and set bonfires on major roads. That led commuters and residents scampering for safety. Lagos police spokesperson Benjamin Hundeyin, while confirming the incident, said police officers have been mobilized to the areas to restore peace and free movement. In Ogun State, some residents of Ibafo in Obafemi Owode local government area blocked both sides of the Lagos-Ibadan expressway at the Ibafo bus stop axis in protest of the scarcity of the new Naira note. A similar situation was also reported at Magboro and Ifo area of the state, where youth blocked the popular Lagos-Abeokuta road and set up bonfires, disrupting free flow of traffic in the area. In Ondo State, the very popular Ore was the hotspot. In Rivers State, the same cash scarcity protest is a story. Some persons are allegedly being robbed by hoodlums in Yobe community in the midst of the crisis.
It's been a busy day for our correspondents monitoring this development across Nigeria. I'm joined by reporters in Kaduna, Yobe, and Ogun State for more on the updates there. Lupe Assam is joining from Kaduna. I see Ayo Maradi or Kazim Olowe is in Ogun and Michael Oshuma in Yobe. Femi is joining us live from Addis Ababa. Femi, walk us through the main talking points in the press release from the presidency earlier today.
Yes, I mean, that press statement from the presidency came at the right time. It was really apt, looking at what is happening in the country, the controversy caused by the cash swap policy of the Central Bank of Nigeria. You know, a lot of governors have been making some kind of insinuations that this policy is targeted at the market in the All Progressives Congress, and they are also suggesting that there are plans to form an interim national government. There are plans to derail the election and form an interim national government. So the presidency had to come out strong with that statement to tell people to stop making jokes about an interim national government, that elections will hold. Earlier today, I spoke with the senior special assistant to the president on media and publicity, Garba Shehu. He told me emphatically that the elections will hold, and this African Union summit that President Muhammad Buhari is currently attending will be his last. And he would also be making a closing statement announcing to other world leaders and African leaders that he will be exiting the stage of League of Presidents or leaders on the African continent. The presidency hopes that this statement will calm trade nerves, douse tension, and also put it in the mind of Nigerians that President Muhammad Buhari is committed to conducting a credible, free, and fair election. And President Muhammad Buhari categorically stated in that.
Akode, live in Addis Ababa. We'll be back with you for updates from the African Union Summit there. Let's turn to Kaduna, where Lupe Assam is standing by. Lupe, the state governor earlier said that the old notes remain legal tender and even threatened to prosecute any individuals or businesses refusing to take these monies. What's the situation today, aftermath the governor's directive, Lupe? Lupe, if you can hear me, I'm asking what the situation is in Kaduna aftermath the governor's directive as regards the old notes still being legal tender.
Can you hear me now, sir?
Yes, I can hear you, Lupe. Please go ahead.
Okay, the good news from Kaduna State is that despite a rise in tension in some other states, Kaduna State has remained calm. That's the good news for several people in the state. Of course, Kaduna State has witnessed a rise in violence lately. So the last thing people were actually expecting was that there would be some form of unrest in the state. So at the moment, I can tell you that the polity is calm. But then I must also let you know that the people here are feeling the brunt of this policy. Several of them have criticized the federal government. Several of them have criticized the timing of this policy. And they feel that, it should have come at a better time. Of course, the governor's position is that old notes will still remain in legal tender in the state. That has also been criticized by several others. But the governor seems to be backed by, he quotes the Central Bank of Nigeria's Act of 2007 and the Bill of Exchange Act, which has obliged the Central Bank of Nigeria to always exchange old notes when they are brought by the citizens. So he seems to be backed by that, and he's standing by his position. The people seem to also be backing the governor. They are not taking to the streets. The governor earlier called on citizens in the state to desist from engaging in acts of violence, engaging in protest, and it seems that the citizens are obeying their governor at this moment. But I must also tell you that his declaration that old Naira notes remain in legal tender is still not being fully complied. Of course, I spoke with a lot of people today. They said they're still taking their old notes to some restaurants, to some malls, and they are not being accepted. So that's the big challenge now at the moment. But I must tell you that the quality is calm.
Lupe, dear live for us in Kaduna. Let's turn to Yobe State, where Michael Osoma is. Michael, you shared pictures earlier about the challenges with Nigerians trying to access the ATMs. What more have you gathered as to that situation in Yobe? Michael, I'm asking what the situation is like where you are as to the Naira scarcity.
Yeah, in Yobe State, the situation is quite different from what we're experiencing in other states, like protests and burning down of structures and all that. The situation in Yobe is calm, and the only challenge is that there is scarcity of the Naira, and people from the 17 local government areas in the state are trooping into the capital city to ensure that they have access to cash. And it's unfortunately that when they came to the town, there is no cash on almost all the ATM in the capital city, which is a bit challenging for many residents in Yobe State. There is no protest. The government has asked everyone to be calm, not to take the law into their hands like it's just the way we experience in other states.
It's from Yobe. Michael, we'll return to you when you have more for us in the course of our bulletins. Let's turn to Ondo State, where Ayom Radeyo is standing by. What was today like in Akure, Ayom? Ayo, I needed to unmute your mic. What's the current situation in Akure, the Ondo State capital, today?
Let me tell you that in Akure, there is no protest.
Well, we have issues connecting to Ayo. We'll get back to him subsequently. It seems he's back. Please go ahead, Ayo.
Yes, in Ore, we have protests where hundreds of youth came out in their numbers to participate in the protest. They said they can no longer have access to new Naira notes. Some of them, they went to various banks, and the situation is the same. They couldn't get new Naira notes, and most banks did not open. So it has been a very turbulent time for the people. They are saying that the government needs to review the policy because they don't have access to their money in the banks. If you want to buy some things in the market, you have to transfer. And most of the traders here, they don't receive transfer. So it is difficult for them to make transactions. And that has been the situation. And that is why the youth in Ore and some other residents came out to protest against this policy. They want a review and they want to have access to their money, which has become a problem for many of them.
Ayo is live in Ondo. Lupe joined us from Kaduna, Michael from Yobe, and we had Femi earlier from Addis Ababa. Thank you guys for the updates. And back here in Lagos, the state governor, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, has called for an end to the protest in parts of the metropolis over Naira scarcity. The governor is calling for calm, advising against violence, just as it says the Supreme Court was looking into the controversial matter and would make its position known on the 22nd of February. Governor Sanwo-Olu, in a statement signed by the Commissioner for Information and Strategy, Gbenga Omotosho, commended the people of the state for showing understanding despite the pains the federal government's measures have brought. And his Ogun State counterpart, Governor Dapo Abiodun, has also threatened to shut down and revoke certificate of occupancy of any store rejecting old Naira notes from members of the public in the state. The governor added that there is a Supreme Court order which says old Naira notes remain a legal tender.